Welcome everybody to Cold Emails Hot Takes, episode 26. Today I'm with my fellow co-founder Raul. How are you doing, man?
Good. Excited to do my first live ever.
Okay, great. Yeah, I hope this works, but I think it will. So yeah, cool. On this episode, we'll do it live in the Facebook group, and we'll also upload this later to YouTube. But here we're gonna be covering the A to Z on how to close more deals with Instantly.ai. First, we'll cover some of the foundational stuff, some of the basics that are important, and then we go into the intermediate and advanced strategies. And also, Raul is going to share some of his secrets on how he closed high-ticket deals, on how he brought in like 100K cash collected in 1 month. I was there, I saw it happen. And and at the end, we'll also do a Q&A and answer every single question. So let's get started. Let me just check these. All right, so yeah, Raul, let's cover some of the foundational stuff. A question we get a lot is how many cold emails per day per email account can you send?
So usually when people ask it, they're asking about like the max. So there's like multiple ways to look at it. If you want to have a long-term account that you're sending, like if you send 5-10 daily, like it will never die. You can use it almost forever. And if you stack those up, multiple ones, you can just scale like that. But if you want to do it like at the max and scale, we found between 20 and 30. So 30 is the maximum per email account that we recommend. You can go above that, but then you're going to run into those problems that you're going to start landing into spam. You're going to start burning out those email accounts. So we don't recommend going over 30, but try it. But it's like on you, like don't blame us when you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so maybe a question for you is, people ask this a lot, where do you buy domains? How many accounts per domain? Should I use Google Workspace? Should I use Zoho? What do you recommend, man?
Okay, yeah, so to buy the domains, the secondary sending domains, you can buy them through GoDaddy. We've always bought them through GoDaddy. We've bought like hundreds of sending domains. And Namecheap is also good. So to buy the domains, Namecheap or GoDaddy. If you're just getting started with cold email, just get 3 to 5 of these secondary sending domains. And then for the sending providers, or like what ESP you can use Zoho, Outlook, or Google. For our own campaigns, we use a mix of Google and Zoho. It works well for deliverability. And then let me ask you a question, Raul. So what would you say are some of the most common mistakes that businesses make when sending cold emails, and how can they avoid them?
Good question. I would say the biggest mistake that everybody's doing is not sending enough emails. They just like get stuck in the weeds, thinking about all the stuff they shouldn't be thinking about. So when I talk with my friends or other people and they're not getting results, it's just because they're not sending enough emails. If you're in a regular common niche B2B, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of leads out there that you can reach out to. And if you're messaging 5,000 and you're not getting results and you're saying like cold email doesn't work, that's on you. So I think the biggest mistake is just not sending enough emails. With Instantly now, like with all the lead database out there, it's so easy to send out many emails every day. Like Neil said, you can just stack those secondary sending domains, those accounts, get those up and running, and just send more emails. You're going to learn about cold email. You're going to learn what works for you. So maybe another mistake is using different strategies right up front. You can learn from so many different places. You can learn from different people. You can have different strategies. If you go to another cold email podcast, they're going to recommend different sending domains, or they're going to recommend different limits. Just stick to one in the beginning and just send out as many emails as possible. Stop overthinking. We're just sending emails, man. Like, we're just sending to other regular people. You don't have to worry too much about it. And then a third mistake I would say is not having a structure, not having a process, and just doing it randomly, jumping into it, trying something. But the easiest thing to do is just set a calendar event. 15 minutes, I'm going to work on copy. 15 minutes after that, I'm going to try to find more leads. 15 minutes after that, I'm going to set up more campaigns. 15 minutes after that, I'm going to look at my current campaigns. 15 minutes after that, maybe I'll buy more domains. So I'm consistently every day working on it. And that's how you get past most people. Like, most people are lazy. they're not putting in this kind of work. You can stand out just by doing more, putting in more effort. Most people are trying the same templates. Like the templates that are in Instant Accelerator, they're good, but if everybody uses it, they're going to stop working. If you take the time to work on copy every day, try ChatGPT, whatever, you're going to get past them. So just having daily structure, not worrying, not overthinking, sticking to one plan. We recommend Instantly, of course. We have everything laid out for you, and then just sending more emails. If you come to me after sending 50,000 emails, I've never met somebody that's like sent 50,000 and haven't got results. So I think those are the ones. Do you have like any others to add for mistakes people are making?
I would say, yeah, for people starting out, I would say, I mean, it goes hand in hand with what you've been saying, but there's simplifying and taking more action, like just being consistent. Like if you launch 2 free simple campaigns every single week and you follow the blueprint, eventually, inevitably, you're going to get results. So just stick to it. Keep it super simple. Also, we built Instantly in a way where we want it to be super simple and intuitive. Just follow the steps, click, click, click. Keep the copy simple, and just follow the simple rules and take action. That's the most important thing. Sometimes I see like people super overthinking stuff, going down these rabbit holes that even I've been in the cold email for a long time. You as well, Raul. And we launched a lot of campaigns, and they ask like these very like rabbit hole questions that are not really important. Like some details are just not important. So yeah, just launching more campaigns, keeping it simple, and that's it. I would say that's the main beginner mistake that I see out there.
I agree. And let's say I'm launching campaigns. What are the main KPIs you recommend I should be aiming for, and how do I maximize if I find a campaign that works?
The main metric, right, is not really open rate, it's not really reply rate, but it's how many opportunities you're getting, even just the absolute number, not even the percentage. But yeah, like if you launch 2 free campaigns a week, or even two campaigns a week, like how many opportunities are you getting? And when I say opportunities, I mean positive replies, meeting booked, all of that, all of the sales opportunities, putting that under that umbrella. But yeah, just look at like, okay, like this week I got 10 positive replies. Is it working? Is it not working? Don't be too concerned with the open rate, not too concerned with the reply rate, but just keep that as the main metric. You can also see that metric obviously in the analytics of Instantly. You can see for every campaign how many opportunities it brought you, and just double down on what's working. And if you sent out 2,000 emails and you had a good reply rate, good open rate, let's say 60-70%, which looks good on the surface, but if you didn't really get any opportunities from it, then you would either have to change your copy, change that up, or just switch the angle, change the targeting. But yeah, always opportunities are the number one metric. I mean, beyond opportunities than positive replies or meetings, obviously there's also revenue booked, or like how many clients you actually closed. But just the opportunities is kind of the closest thing. You can also see that right away in Instantly. So I would go by that at the beginning. Once you have a lot of volume, then you can really go into, okay, how many clients did I close from that campaign? But that comes later, so I wouldn't worry about that, with your first 5 or 10 plus campaigns.
Yeah, I like that. I would have said like, yeah, like the revenue, but if it's just starting out, get those opportunities. Don't worry about like open rate. Just like check it from time to time. You can even like leave it off. I'm not using it that much anymore. Just like checking it systematically to see if that deliverability is high. But after that, yeah, like you said, the absolute part, I think a lot of people are missing it, or not using it correctly. So if I have a campaign that has 10% reply rate, but like 1 reply or 10 replies, and then I have another one with 5% reply rate but 20 replies, I would take the 20 reply campaign every day. It's like absolute numbers, you're getting more campaigns, like worry on those. And maybe that's like something we can do better job at in Instant, like the analytics, showing those numbers and showing like what you should be focusing on. And another part, what a lot of people aren't using in Instantly is if you go into campaigns, you can set your customer value, how much one customer on average is worth to you. You don't have to go into detail, you don't have to know it precisely, but just like look at your current deals, look what's the average, go into Instant campaign and click on the opportunities number, and there you can set monetary value. You can actually see how much money potentially is in your inbox, and that will motivate you more to work on those leads. Because again, like if you just see a lead, it just seems like a random person. But if I see that this person is worth 10K for me, 5K a month, like I would be much more inclined to work on it. And maybe that's like another good question for you, Niels. If you get a positive response, what's your strategy? Like, how do you convert those into meetings? Should I set a booking link? What's your strategy?
Yeah, so first thing is just responding as quickly as possible. You can either do that manually, and usually the response to somebody that's interested, give them a couple of times manually, suggest them, hey, like tomorrow at 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. EST, or Thursday at 2 p.m. EST. Let me know if either one of these times work, or if it's easier, here's also my Calendly link that you can book into. So just give them two options, the manual times or the Calendly. I wouldn't just send the Calendly and say, like someone says, yeah, I'm interested to get on a call with you to discuss the details. And then he says, oh yeah, here's my Calendly, like just book it. It just seems a little bit lazy. And there can be drop off there. Like people say, they see the link maybe and they say, oh yeah, never mind, But like asking them manually, like putting in that effort manually, will also, make it more likely that they actually book in the meeting once they've shown the interest. And another way, of course, the automated way is also with subsequences. So we've released this feature 2-3 weeks ago. You can set some rules in your campaigns based on the trigger or the keywords inside of the response, and then it will instantly respond for you. So you can do that as well.
Perfect. Yeah, and like I think the main thing here would be, in the beginning, if you're starting out, I would start by doing it manually, learning what works, customizing each response, maybe creating templates out of those, and then start automating it. Because if you start automating before you know what works for your business, it's usually not going to work, right? So start put in the more effort. Again, most people aren't doing it. If you're going to do it, you're going to get ahead of them, and then start with the automations.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, there's no shame in being just rolling up your sleeve and being in the trenches and doing stuff manually at the beginning. You don't have to go too fancy with the automations from the get-go. We'll give you a deep understanding of what's going on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe, Raul, a question for you. Can you share an example of a particularly successful cold email campaign that you've run, for a client, for yourself, one of our internal campaigns? What was one of your favorite campaigns out there that you ever launched that crushed it?
So this is a really good question. I have a bunch that pop into my head, but I'm going to give you a couple of answers. So the first one, in our lead generation agency, we had a client for whom for 2.5, 3 months, we got one, maybe two opportunities in their inbox, and we needed to get 15, and nothing was working. We tried everything. We tried 20, 30 different campaigns. What I mentioned before, having a structure, we had that. We tried everything every day. We thought we were good at it, but there is some stuff that some clients that don't have a good social presence, some niches that are harder, and we stumbled upon one of these. So in the end, we had to pivot. Our pitch was very direct in the beginning, just straight up personalized line. Then here's what we can do. We did very similar thing to very similar client. Mind if I send more information? This basic structure, what usually works really well, just didn't work. Straight up didn't work. So we had to go to the drawing board, come up with some creative ideas. And the idea that we came up with was a research angle, pretty much not going for the sales straight away, but asking hey, we're compiling a research, we're writing a blog post in your niche about how you grew your company, about the things that were relevant for our client. And in this way, to get their foot through the door, they would understand some problems in the business, and we'll just ask them, hey, under this blog post, mind if I send some 3 questions over, and I will add your link once it's out so you can get backlinks. And then we got, 15 responses in a few days just because of that. And again, this takes more effort because you're not going in for the sales straight away. We're not sending a meeting booked straight away. It's just a way to open a conversation And when we ask those questions from that client, then we learn about their business. And if it's something that we see we can help with, then you can follow up with more like a sales pitch, like, hey, I noticed you're doing this. Have you considered using this? We might save you a lot of money, or we might help you grow even faster. So that was a good one, like a completely different angle. So if you go to Instant Accelerator, copywriting in our copywriting masterclass, all these strategies are there. This is like one that I really liked. And then another one that I personally did. So I'm a huge fan of super short ones. And recently, for Instantly, I used like a 1 sentence one where I proposed us to send over a 30-second loom. So that copy was pretty much like, hey, out of the blue question, but we just did this for this. Mind if I send a 30-second loom? That was it. And it's just like, it killed like so many responses because it's so easy for the people to respond. And that's why we don't recommend sending or asking for a meeting straight up. People are busy. You're coming out of the cold. It's just make their life as easy as possible. Just, yes, you want it. Like, no, you don't want it. Like, chill. And that's like what I like. I just like low effort and still like cliffhanger, teasing them a little bit. But same question for you, man. Do you remember some like specific ones that you were super proud of, or you didn't expect to be working as well as you did?
Yeah, I would say my favorite one, and we've been running it just for our own campaigns. It's just, I was looking at the blank page and then I thought, yeah, like what's the shortest cold email I can do here? And I just said, hey, first name. We created a tool that helps companies like company name variable book up to 500 demos a month. Because I just seen a case study where in the Facebook group where somebody mentioned they're booking 500 demos a month with Instantly, and I said, man, that's really cool. Like, let me just mention that. And so that was the copy, right? My first name. We created a tool that helps companies like company name book up to 500 demos a month. And the call to action was interested to hear more, ? Best, and then my name, sending account name variable. So like super simple, right? You can read it in 5 seconds, you get it right away. And yeah, that booked a lot of positive replies. A lot of positive replies came in. It looks kind of personalized, big promise, true promise, and very compelling. And you can even go very broad, right? You don't really have to do any personalized lines. You know, personalized lines obviously can work, but in that case, you know, just very short and sweet, broad offer, which is 1 sentence, simple call to action, and that was it. And then as the second step, did a funny GIF. It was like a cute little penguin running around. That was the step 2 of the sequence, and it just said, "Hey, first name, if I'm not able to get your attention, I hope that this cute little penguin will be able to." And then just from Jiffy.com took one of those penguins with a suitcase running around, and then from there kind of opens people up a little bit more, makes them more receptive. It's not like the same old, hey, bumping this up. This can work, but there's definitely better ways to do a follow-up. And then, so the first sentence that I just mentioned, then the GIF, and then transitioning into the pitch and saying, transitioning into the pitch, what did I say there? So like, after the GIF, saying, hey, like if you're still, let me know if you're interested in hearing more about how you can book more demos for company name, and then mentioning the case study as well, and then call to action. And that was pretty much it, like simple one. Sometimes I'm lazy with those campaigns. I just want to launch one quickly and move on and go do other stuff. So yeah, it was just a 2-step, first email, 1 sentence, second email with a funny GIF, and that was it. So, and that worked really well.
Yeah, I love that, man. And like, we're talking about like effort so much, like you're putting in effort. So it's like interesting, right? Like if we're sending emails, we have to put a lot of effort into like finding the leads, the campaigns, the setup, the personalization, the copy. But all the effort we're putting into should be going towards making the recipient put in as like least effort as possible. Like they shouldn't be doing anything. It's like super simple. Mind if I send you more information? But I want to ask you mentioned a little bit the email that you mentioned. It's just like 2 variables, name and company name, like not much personalizations. It still feels personalized. But what's your take on personalizations now? There have been so many tools doing it manually, automating it using ChatGPT. What do you think? Like, how much should people do it if they're starting out, and some advanced methods?
Yeah, so kind of my opinion on personalization changed over time. I would have said like 1 year ago, I would have said, maybe personalization is overrated. Now that the AI got so good so quickly, it's actually pretty amazing what you can do. But yeah, so like 1 year ago, I would have said like, if it's just starting out, don't worry about personalization too much. I would still say that. But let's say you're more in the intermediate, advanced level, and you're like sending a good amount of volume. You're sending 5, 10, 20K cold emails a month. What we're doing with some of our internal campaigns. And shout out to Eric Novoslavsky. He came up with this angle where coming up with a personalized line that just comes up with free creative ideas for the person. It's like a personalized line, and they're actually really good. So when you're sending a high volume, then you can kind of dabble into that and go into the more advanced strategies of personalization, which works really well. But if you're just starting out, like, don't worry about that too much. Like, again, going back to what we said in the beginning of like simplifying and taking action, just make a first line, like the first line of the email, just make it relevant to who they are. Maybe you can use company name, maybe the first name, maybe you can call out their niche. For example, I've sent out a cold email to recruiters, and that just said, hey, first name, like impressive track record, just saw you on LinkedIn, impressive, not a lot of recruiters with that type of track record. And it's not a personalized line, but it still seems personalized in a way, relevant. It calls out their industry, their niche. It doesn't look like a promotional sales mass email, and and you don't have to use any AI for that. So I would say step 1 is simplify, get some results first, and step 2, if you're already kind of 80-90% everything's optimized, then you can jump into AI and have AI help you do that, but that comes later.
Yeah, man. I was just like reminiscing when we were in our agency and we had to do the manual lines. Remember, like I was in Mexico, fucking sweating, bro. It was 30 plus degrees. We were writing personalized first lines for a client. But I think it's actually a good exercise to go through in the beginning. You go to their websites, you go to their LinkedIn, you learn about the market. If it's a new niche, you go through like 10 pages, you understand their lingo, what they're talking about. And then you can take that information and start creating more generalized lines. And then you can go into more segmentation. Like all these kind of companies are doing this, so I'm just going to write this kind of personal line. And like one, because again, like I'm lazy. Like when we did those personal lines after like 12, I was like fucking done. I wanted to get it done super fast. So one thing when we were targeting, I think advertising agencies, it was super easy to go to the website and then just find clients. And my main one was like, hey, noticed you worked with KFC. That must have been amazing. And then pitch. And this is like how we actually closed one of our agency clients. They helped KFC with some TikTok ads or something. So we will figure out this like fun stuff. And also, if you remember our client that was sustainable marketing agency, we thought it's going to be super hard to get them clients. But turns out there's so many people with the same mission. They want to target sustainable e-com stores. And we didn't know nothing about sustainability or the keywords. So all of us went to their websites, the sustainable e-com stores. We looked at all of the different badges they had and the like grade B, world saving, whatever terminology, like I forgot it now. But then when we used it, it was one of our easiest clients because it was like so resonating, so specific. So definitely personalization works. And maybe like we didn't cover it, but what do you think of segmentation compared to like personalization? It's like doing huge bulks of specific emails. Do you recommend that for people?
Yeah, they can do segmentation, like, and then, like I said, a little bit like calling out that niche, calling out that sub-segment, right? This kind of, it's a way of personalizing without having to write a personalized line for every lead. So just calling out the niche that they're in makes it more relevant. So for example, with the example that I said with recruiters, right? Calling out recruiters in the first line, then instead of saying, hey, we help just B2B companies, you can say, hey, like, saying something about the market. So that works as well. You just have to come up with a new angle for every segment.
Yep. I like that. And I was just checking like our list of questions of what to ask. Maybe like we've covered the cold email a little bit. You're cool if you go into the sales part a little bit. Okay. So I think most of our clients, a lot of people have or have been in an agency. So, and because we've had an agency, we have like a lot of experience. Let's start with a meeting, sales demo. You're an agency, somebody responded positively to your emails, you go instantly Unibox, you book them in for a meeting, now jump on a meeting. How do you structure a meeting for a cold prospect that you've never heard about?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, that would be a better question for you because you're a much better salesperson than I am. But I'm kind of okay at it. But how we did the sales calls when we were starting out the agency. I mean, the first phase is kind of this discover phase. We're asking some questions, to see where they stand. Like, how many meetings are they currently getting? Are they using any cold outreach channels? Just to get an overview of where they stand, the point A. Then also really finding out like what's their goal, like where do you want to go? Like, okay, right now you're getting like one meeting a week from referrals. Like, why don't you just keep doing that? And then usually they say, oh yeah, I don't want to rely on referrals anymore. Like a lot of clients we had at the cold email agency, they had like kind of this pain point. They said, referrals, I don't want to rely on it. It's a little bit hit or miss. I just want a reliable, consistent way that doesn't depend on any friends, where I can get those meetings. So okay, yeah. So what do you want to do? Like, what's your goal ultimately? And say, oh yeah, I just want a consistent way on how to get 5 meetings per week. And then you kind of set the stage, right? You know where they're at and what their goals are. And then from there, I would a lot of times just transition into our case studies. So like saying, hey, like this is a similar client that we helped. Just showing them, hey, like they were in a similar position than you. They only got like 1 or 2 meetings a week, and we helped them get 7, 8 meetings a week. And then just going through all these case studies, showing them like a lot of proof. And then, once you did the discover phase and you covered the testimonials, the case studies, then you can kind of go into the thesis and just showing them, what's our process like? How do we get people results? Right? We show them all the case studies, but what was this system behind it? And just showing them, okay, when you sign up with us, the first thing you do is you fill out the onboarding questionnaire, just so we have a really clear view on who your ideal customer profile is. We get very targeted on that, very clear on that. And then you submit that, and then we start writing the copy, we start building the lead lists, we build out the cold email engine, the sales machine, or the prospecting machine, and just walking them through the process. That is very logical. It's not really like an emotional sale in that phase. You're more, going through the logical structure of what the system is that gets them the result. And then once you get to the end, you keep them engaged and you see if they still have questions. And usually, you can just answer all the questions there, and then, you can jump into the pricing, walk them through the packages. We had 2 different packages, diamond and platinum. Gold and platinum. Sometimes we sold a diamond as well. But yeah, just giving them 2 options and say, hey, like the gold is more for people who want an additional 2 to 3 meetings a week, and the platinum is more for people who want like 5 to 10 meetings a week, and then walking them through the pricing from there. Then yeah, how would you continue that, Raul? What would be your moves from there to get them over the fence?
Right, so that was like really nice setup. And before I go into like the close part, I would say like the biggest hurdle that everything that Niels mentioned, from the discovery, case studies, logically showing the process, is trust, because you're a cold prospect to them. Like they don't know anything about you. So the main thing is to show them honestly, learn from them first that you can honestly help them. If you can do that, then you show them you've done the exact thing to very similar people, increasing trust, walking them through what you do. With instantly was like very easy. We don't even have to show a presentation, we show instantly. Again, instant trust, because they see the actual tool in work. And then when we get to the end, like you said, it's a logical question. And I would pull up my ROI sheet in the discovery phase. I did my prep, I was smart. I asked questions about their ticket size. So now I know, okay, they have this ticket size. I asked about their conversion rate. So now I know their ticket size is 10K and they convert every 4th person. So now I can logically say, if I can bring you 5 meetings, 4 meetings every week, and you close 1, that's worth to you much more than the price we're paying. So the only question is, like, to trust me to like do that. And that's why we have guarantee. I can give you references, talk with their clients. They've gone through the exact same thing. Just like hit them up, email them, call them. So it's all about managing expectations and showing them logically. No emotions like, I don't like the high pressure stuff. It's like logically, like you're paying us 5K, but if I deliver what I promise, that has a guarantee, you can make 10, 20K from it. It's like just ROI positive decision. And then usually they have to think about it. You can't push them straight on a call. I didn't like that. But what I did was, if it makes sense for them, I sensed that they're like into it, you book them in for the next steps right on the call. Like, don't leave the call below, let's talk about it, you need to talk to the team. Like, no, let's just like pencil something in, how long it's going to take, like 2 days, 1 day, just like pencil something in straight away. And then I think, like, you know, most of the magic happens after the demo is over. They're going to talk with the team. You agreed on a time, let's say 2 days in the future. But after the demo, we would send a recap straight away. And then we would send something that's called carpet pull. And these are, I think, one of the most powerful, simple little tools out there that people can use. Do you want to walk them through like one of your crazy ones that you used that pulled in like 2 or 3 meetings in a night?
No, you better at carpet pulls. You have to tell you about your carpet pulls. I learned it from you actually.
So carpet pulls, like, it's a funny name, but pretty much what we want to do is offer them, if they're interested in your offer them an amazing deal, even better, that was offered on a call in exchange for something. For example, if you're willing to give us a testimonial and just talk with the team, I would love to have you on our roster. If you give us a video testimonial, I can save you 1K if you jump on board today. Like, let me know by the end of the day. So now remember, they jumped on a call with us. They were qualified. We went through the demo. It made sense to them. We already booked in a meeting. They're interested in the price that we talked about on the call, but now I'm hitting them. If they're willing to give me a testimonial, I'm going to give them 1K discount. So if they're honestly interested, like, why wouldn't they take this? And then you can just use other, I'd say, like, don't scam, don't like come up with like super crazy topics. You can't do that, but just keep it like ethical. Whatever you got to do, give them like a small discount. And you don't even have to give discounts. You can get, like, you mentioned you want to get 10 meetings, but it was like too expensive for you. So what I will do is I'm going to double the package for the first month just to get you going super fast. In exchange, if you're going to give us a video testimonial, or if we're successful with you, you're going to refer 3 people to us, like your friends. So these are the ones that I use, the basic ones. Do you have like anything to add for the carpet pulls?
No, those are good, man. Maybe some funny ones. You know, if you want to go there, you can also say stuff that, like, I mean, obviously they'll get that it's a joke, but you can say, hey, like, you know, my girlfriend is upset at me because I've been just working so much, so I have to take her out to a nice dinner. You know, if you sign up today, I'll give you like $100 discount just to get started sooner rather than later. So sometimes that can work as well, as worked in the past to get some deals closed. You know, then respond, haha, okay, you know, let's just do it. So you can do that too. You know, be creative with your carpet pulls, and also, you know, if it's the end of the week, if it's a Friday, if it's the end of the month, you can say, hey, like, we're wrapping up the month, looking to get on one more client. If you join now in April, I mean, now that we're recording this in April, like Thursdays, Fridays, end of month, it's like a good time to say, hey, like, we're looking to bring on one more client. I can give you the discounted rate in exchange if you can just give us a testimonial once we're successful with your campaigns. You know, we can close the deal that way. Let me know, are you in or not? Maybe you can also say something like that. So. So end of week, end of month is good, like you said. Also, asking for something in exchange makes it less like salesy. Like, hey, like, just give us a testimonial. You know, it's like we're not throwing out discounts willy nilly, but like just in exchange for a testimonial, or you, like I said, you can make it funny. But yeah, those carpet pulls work well. I mean, obviously, if you do like some more high pressure sale, you can close on the call. Like, I've seen Raul close like 10, 15K deals just over Zoom after like just a 1 hour call. One call closes, which can definitely happen. But yeah, usually like the close comes on the follow-up call or the follow-up emails. So yeah, for the people who run an agency and they're not doing one call closes, don't worry about it. It's not something that happens a lot. It's usually just the money is in the follow-up, like they said, like they say. So just keep that in mind.
Bro, I started missing the dopamine when like the money hits from a close. Like, should we go back to closing, like doing high ticket, man? I miss it a little bit, like the carpet pulls, put a smile on my face, man. I miss that shit, man.
Yeah, sometimes for people listening, it was like, I remember it was like June. It was like June, end of month. And Raul and I were working from Raul's place. We were having a glass of gin tonic, just blasting some music, and we're just messaging all of the leads in the pipeline, giving them just like last minute offers. It was fun, man. You can make it fun, yeah, like, right? You don't always have to take it seriously. But yeah, those were some good times.
Yeah, man. It's like, it was like, if it, like, it's just being relentless, or just like following up. Same as with like email sequences. Like, the more you follow up, the more closure you're gonna get. It's like people forget about it. People have so much stuff to do. Like, you have so much stuff to do. Like, if you're targeting business owners, like, there's so much stuff going on. It's just like, again, make it easy for them, make it fun for them. Again, like even the carpet, I feel it's a little bit like psychology. People want to work with cool people, like fun people. And if you like should like talk about your girlfriend or like taking out or whatever, it's like a different level, a little bit more saucy, unique, pattern interrupting. So yeah. I really like that. And like a lot of questions. One question. Yes, sir.
Before we jump to the next topic, it's like something. It's a good point that you brought up with the ROI calculator. I forgot. I didn't mention that, but that's like really a good point, especially like with other like, let's say, high level founders, CEOs, B2B business owners, like just walking them through the return on investment that they can get. I remember like a close from one of our agencies, Armin. He was from Germany, and just told me like, Niels, I just need to see the numbers. And then we went through the ROI calculator together, and we said, okay, like in the first month we're going to set up 5 secondary sending domains. Each secondary sending domain can send 200, 250 emails a day. And then times 5, we're going to be sending 1,000 cold emails a day. That's going to be the open rate. That's the reply rate. That's the meeting booking rate. Just walking through this entire process, instead of like trying to, be too abstract or try to do like some type of emotional sale, which like obviously works, right? I'm not a master salesman, but like with most people who are like level-headed CEOs, business owners, just walking them through the numbers is usually all that they want to see.
Yep. Agree, man. And that's where I think like the best salespeople excel. They understand like what kind of people they're talking to, and they hit on those points. So if you get at that level, you can get frisky with it, try out like with different stuff. But yeah, I think it's pretty easy in the agency game. You don't need more, just positive ROI and like some case studies. But I think an interesting point here was like, because we had like cases, we had experience, how would you structure the close if you don't have any case studies? What would you do differently? Or would you recommend people like selling at all if they don't have case studies?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you don't have case studies, try to bring in some relevant work experience that you have, right? I'm assuming it's not like the very first thing that people do. Like if they worked, let's say you're launching a lead gen agency, but you don't have any clients yet. You're starting from scratch. But in the past, maybe you worked as an SDR, maybe you worked as a closer, maybe you worked for a marketing agency. And then you can say, hey, like I worked in this project. When I worked as an SDR, I booked so many meetings. This is exactly what I'm going to do for you. And obviously when you start out, you can't charge the crazy prices yet. You can charge 10K for a setup or whatever it may be. So maybe at the beginning, just to get your first experience in, and there's really no shame in just offering your service for cheap at the very beginning, right? You're just starting out, it's fine. It's like your apprentice phase. Just go in, roll up your sleeve, do some work for cheap. Obviously not forever, don't be attached to that phase of struggling. But yeah, at the very beginning, like your first 2 or 3 clients, you can really offer your service for cheap, do an amazing job, wow them, and then those first 2-3 clients, they're going to be your case studies. But yeah, I wouldn't see that as too much of a hurdle. Like don't try to charge crazy prices already. Maybe people say, hey, only charge what you're worth. If you're just starting out, it's not like your service is not worth that much yet.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. There's no shame in working for cheap at the very beginning, and then you move on and you leverage those case studies, and then you start charging higher prices. Which, you know, it doesn't take that long. It can take 2, 3, 4 months, and you're already there. So it can happen quick if you put in the work.
Love that, man. And one other wrinkle I would add is use yourself as a case study. Like at the very least, you can say like, "Hey, man, it works. Like I got you on the call here." Like obviously the process works. Like if you're selling like lead generation, and don't be like shy. Then it's like the time to push all of your accolades and all of your case studies. And another thing that you can do is leverage other people's case studies. So if you're like completely starting out, you can do work for other agencies that have already case studies, sell on their case studies, and once you go through those motions, then you have that experience and you can start selling your own stuff. But yeah, that's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, good point.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll. We have a question there, and I get that a lot. Right, obviously with Instantly we have A to Z testing, where, you know, for every step you can test up to 26 variations. People ask me, hey, how do I approach A/B testing in your cold emails, and what elements do you typically test? So yeah, I would say it really depends on your volume. You know, if you want to go, first of all, again, like just keep it simple and launch campaigns. Once you pass that first hurdle and you're doing that consistently, then you can go into like the territory of more advanced strategies like A/B testing. And then with A/B testing, you know, only test one thing at a time. So either test the subject line or test the body copy, right? If you want to see, okay, which subject line gets better open rates, then variant A will have a different subject line than variant B. If you just want to see, okay, like you keep the subject line for variant A and variant B the same, but then you change different body copy. Maybe you have a longer body copy for variant A, maybe like a more formal type of writing style or tone, and then for variant B, you can go the other extreme and you just do maybe a less formal, just a one sentence, quick cold email. And then you'll be able to see which one works. And then obviously you can add a C variation, D variation, E, and so on. But make sure you have enough volume, enough leads to test it with. But yeah, that's I mean, it's very straightforward, right? You just go inside of Instantly, go to campaigns, add your campaign name, upload the leads, and then you're in the sequence editor. On the step 1, it's going to say add variant, so you can just add all the variants there. But yeah, pretty straightforward. And then once you launched it, you know, after a day, you'll see all the results. You'll see exactly what got you more replies and opportunities, and based on that, you can either, you know, you just turn off the ones that are not working and you keep the one that's working, and for the remaining leads, you'll just keep that winning variation. So yeah, that's how we go about the A/B testing, A to Z testing with our own campaigns.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a question for you, Raoul. What tools and software do you use to manage your cold email campaigns, and why do you prefer those particular solutions?
So if we start from the beginning, Google Workspace for setup, Google domains, GoDaddy for the domains. Just like stick with the big players if you're starting out. Even if it's a little bit more expensive, the headache that's going to save you instead of going after some obscure tools that has one person in a basement building it and there's like no help desk and you come to us like it's broken, we can't help you because we don't know how it works. Like, don't do that. Pay a little bit more, get those like Google Workspaces. Like even Zoho, it's like trusted, good, go with the main ones. Then obviously like Instantly for warm-up, sending. Then still we're using Apollo for leads for now, and verification, Million Verifier is good. We've tested the ChatGPT now for copywriting. You don't need like much more. If you go to Instant Accelerator, we have all the templates. You can teach ChatGPT on those copy templates. You don't need like a separate tool for that. So right now that's a really good one. And then yeah, like if you use a CRM, like Close, we use that. That was nice. Right now we're doing the deals from inside Instantly. That's maybe like one missing piece. And yeah, then Zoom, it's like a part of the sales process. And Google Calendar maybe is the most underrated tool. Like I mentioned, adding your daily tasks. Yeah, like people don't think Google Calendar as like a sauce or a tool, but it is. It's like a to-do list, like a checklist, like a productivity tool. Like just use Google Calendar, man. Add all your tasks, add blocks when you're not working, so people can book you in. Structure a day in a very like routine manner. That's gonna help you maximize it, and just like stick with it, stick with the rhythm. And let me think if there's anything else. Yeah, no, I don't think so. That's pretty much it. Did I forget anything? Is there any other tools that you use?
No, that covers everything when it comes directly to outreach. Maybe one thing I'll add is for the landing page, right, with our agency, and now for instantly using Webflow. But Webflow can be like quite, or we use Squarespace. We use Squarespace, now we're using Webflow. But anyway, these two tools can be sometimes a little bit complicated to set up a website, right? Because also one point to keep in mind is when you cold emailing people, a lot of them before replying to you, they go and check out your domain. They just copy paste your domain into the browser, and then by the way also make sure that your secondary sending domains redirect to your main domain. So they type in your secondary sending domain and it will redirect to your main domain. Then on your main domain, make sure you have like a nice looking landing page, but you don't have to go very complex. You can keep it very simple. Tools like landing page builders like Card are good, super simple. Just have have your case studies on there, have a short VSL or like a video recording or even a loom of you explaining some of your, how your agency works and so on. But yeah, just the landing page is kind of important. So Card or maybe Unbounce. I haven't used Unbounce too much, but yeah, just like a simple landing page builder. Have a solid landing page, simple call to action, so they can book on your calendar, and you don't need much more to get your first clients for your B2B agency, or whatever niche.
And like actually, really good point about landing page. It's super underrated. I think we struggled most in our agency to get leads for clients that had shitty websites. They didn't have like anything on them, just like looked from 2005. Like it's very hard. It's actually super important. You just need to have like a nice one pager with all the elements that Neil said, and same with your socials. Now we're getting like more and more, like if you're on Twitter, LinkedIn profile, like spruce those babies up, like add nice pictures, like just make them look good. It's gonna get you more responses. Like it's that simple.
Yeah, and also like a super simple asset that you can add to your page, right? Once you've had like your first 2, 3, 4 clients and they're happy with your work, like get a testimonial, but not only in written format. Like don't be shy about asking if you did an amazing job for somebody, don't be shy about asking them for a video testimonial, right? With our agency, we did like an amazing job for a couple of folks, and when we asked them to do a video, obviously it felt uncomfortable in the moment. Hey, do you want to record a video and say how we helped you? Seems a little bit like uncomfortable in the moment, but they're happy to do it most of the time, and that's such a valuable asset that people who maybe they booked a call with you and then they look at your calendar and they say, okay, I have call with XYZ, any agency, like should I show up there or should I not show up there? They're gonna go to your website again, and if they see some video testimonials, that can help with show up rate as well, and just making them more committed and more bought in, just more proof that you know what you're doing, more trust.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel maybe this is like the part that people, or why a lot of people aren't getting as many results, but especially if you're starting, you have to have a website, then social presence, then you need to buy the domains, the email setup, domains, the tools, the verification, lead sources, managing campaigns daily, then doing sales calls, jumping on them. Like if they're not, it's just like so many different pieces that come together. So how would you like go about like simplifying it, or like complete beginners? How do I make it crystal simple for myself?
Yeah, if I was like complete beginner just starting out, I would just have a card landing page, a calendar link, and the free Zoom. I mean, the free Zoom has a 40-minute limit, so just make sure you close your deals in 40 minutes or less.
Yeah.
And use instantly, man. And then use Soho. Soho is cheap. Use like 3-4 sending domains from GoDaddy, and that's pretty much it. That's how you can get your first clients. Like really, Calendly is free too, by the right? I don't remember how free it is, but I has like some limits built in. But yeah, most of the stuff is free.
And you don't need like courses anymore. Like the Instant Accelerator that has everything. Like I think we're undervaluing it because it's like free. People don't understand how valuable it is. You don't need any cold email courses. Everything is there, from cold email, the setup, choosing a niche, up until like to sales. Just go to the Instant Accelerator. You get like all this content for free. I think we need to like check into people or like push it more. People like actually start using it, or we should start charging for it so people will understand the value.
Yeah, and actually, the version 1 of Instantly Accelerator was our Gumroad course. We had so many people that buy that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to retrieve the money because we can't do the 2-factor authentication now. So there's now a couple $1,000 laying around in Gumroad. Gumroad, if you see this, please send us our money.
Please.
But we don't have access to that email address anymore. But anyway, I mean, my point being is that the Instant Accelerator, we could have sold that like as a $500 course, right? It's 8 modules. It's our combined experience. We've been in the online business game like for 10 years plus, each one of us. There's also the experience from Rayo, and all of us. Like we put our heart and soul into this course, and we just need more people to know about it, because it's 8 modules. It's a legitimate accelerator, but it's free, so more people need to check it out.
Yeah, man, true. I see Felipe already in the comments about charging about the course. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it as of now. Maybe when we're like struggling, like super bad days, down bad, as a last resort. But I wanted to ask you, we've talked about like sales, the cold email game, but in the agency we also use like other sources, and maybe just interesting for people to hear, like maybe cold TMing, ads, other sources for like agencies that they can use to start getting clients using different methods to stray from the cold email for a minute. Like what other channels would you recommend?
I would recommend LinkedIn. Like if they're LinkedIn, you can connect your profile. Expandy. We met Stefan in New York last month at the SaaS Open event, and you can use both simultaneously. You can use cold email, use Instantly for LinkedIn outreach. You can use Expandy to get a couple of additional meetings. So I would definitely recommend that. Maybe you don't really need like 3, 4, 5 different channels to get meetings. Just get really good at cold email. Have a good LinkedIn profile. Soak that up to Expandy, and you're good to go. Like how many meetings can you really do?
That is true, man.
I mean, after that, probably you can scale up with paid ads, but with those cold outreach channels, you're already going to be able to figure out what type of messaging works, especially with the split testing. And you can use similar messaging, similar value props, use that for your paid ads. It's already been validated, and then really scale up. Pack the calendar with paid ads from there. But like I said, like with this example cold email that I mentioned, with the guy that got like 500 demos in 1 month just with cold email. So cold email is very scalable as well. I think that's it, man. Let's wrap it up. That was a good podcast. Podcast Cold Emails, Hot Takes, episode 26. What a ride! I remember when we launched this podcast. I mean, we launched Instantly like 1 year ago. So
yeah, man,
feels like a lifetime ago, right?
Bro, I still remember the first podcast episode I did with Levi. Shout out to Levi, and I was in Seoul, South Korea, and air conditioning wasn't working. So just before I get to the podcast, I came from a shower to like cool my body down. So my hair is still wet. And then during the podcast, I started sweating so much. It was like so warm. It was like being in a sauna, but I had to like keep a straight face. I was like hiding the sweat during the podcast. It was so bad. But I don't know, people still like loved it. Should do another podcast with Levi again, man.
Yeah, man. Levi's great, man. He's the OG of cold email.
Yeah. OG of turbo ramming.
All right, awesome, man. Let's wrap it up. We're gonna upload this to YouTube as well. First live episode was a lot of fun. I mean, we have these conversations all the time anyway, and we thought like this time might as well record it. So yeah, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks. See you guys.